It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am thankful that you are joining me today as we continue on our little excursion through some brand new music that is being released. And I'm really excited about today's episode because one of my favorite bands that I have personally discovered over the past year is Big Big Train. There's just something about this band and their music that just makes me happy. And I just very much have enjoyed getting to know their music. And they have a brand new album that has just been released. The album is called Welcome to the Planet. It was released on January 28th. And as I was planning this week to feature all new music this week, which is quite a departure from what we normally do, I went to the Big Big Train Facebook community and I said, y'all, passengers, help me out a little bit. Which song from the new album should we look at? And of course, like the first 6 recommendations were all different songs, and it's the mark of a wonderful album where the fans are like, I like this one, I like this one, I like they're all great. And I had several folks say, we'll settle for the whole album, Doug. And I'm like, well, let's do one first and then we'll go from there. And over time, the song that kind of came to the top of what people were suggesting is a song called Proper Jack Froster, and that's the one that I'm going to look at today. This actually was a single that was released back in November. The band released it ahead of the release of the album, so it's been out for a little bit, but I have not yet heard it. It has what looks like a really lovely animated video to accompany it, and the video was created by a Swedish animator named Love Andreas Gesson Fagerstedt. And so I'm very much looking forward to diving into it. I did, though, first find a little bit of information by the bassist and band founder Greg Spotton, who also wrote this track. And he says this about the song, quote, I lived in a quiet cul-de-sac in a small town in the Midlands. Now, when he says Midlands, I'm pretty sure he's talking about Britain. That must be in the middle somewhere. The road was built on the side of an old quarry, and we had these amazing long back gardens with a hill at the end. I had really good friends in the road, including a childhood sweetheart, and I was blissfully happy. And then he says, back in the 70s in the Midlands, it was very cold sometimes, and we would have snow 2 or 3 times a year. The house would be so cold that there would be ice inside the windows. My mom would say that Jack Frost had called during the night. I didn't mind, though, as I'd get to go sledging with my friends. Unfortunately, though, my happy childhood had a sad ending. My parents went through a very difficult divorce and my childhood sweetheart moved away. And in the end, we had to leave the house I grew up in and we went to live in a small flat in a different part of town. I had no friends there and was very miserable for a while. And Proper Jack Froster is a song about these childhood experiences. And so I think it's a good time for a story. Especially one that's based on the life of the person who wrote it, and I really can't wait to hear it, y'all. We've got David Longdon on lead vocals. Sadly, this recording, this album, was completed, and he died very recently after the recording was complete. So David Longdon posthumously is singing the lead vocals. Ricard Schoblum on guitars and keyboards and vocals. Claire Lindley on violin and vocals. Nick DiVirgilio on the drums and vocals. Greg Spotton on bass and vocals. David Foster on guitars. And Carly Bryant on keyboards, guitars, and vocals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A septet performing for us today. I am excited. So let's dive in, y'all. Let's look at Proper Jack Froster, the new song from the brand new album by Big Big Train. Here we go. There he is as a kid.
Please may I get down from the table. There are hours left in the day.
Just minor chords, back and forth, grooving.
There are places I must run to, where shallow enders find their way. Such a long time.
Oh, there's a sweetheart. I gotta go, bye. Oh, man.
Mom can bark and shout.
Mom can bark and shout the house down. Oh, there they are.
But there are hens with sharper teeth.
Yeah. So I hang quiet at the foot of the stairs and wait for your call. And out I go.
And out I go.
His friends were his escape.
Jack Frost has painted the doors.
Ah. New key.
Jack Frost was up before the dawn.
Kind of brightens up a little bit, doesn't it? Because he's escaped.
Flying down the hills on a
sledge with rusty nails.
One more round, then
One more round before we have to go home. Huh. I must tell you, I read that a sledge. I thought they were talking about a sled, or that it may have been a typo, but sledge is a real term. So sorry, an American over here. We know them as sleds. A sledge is a heavier sled, normally used for freight or massive objects. Should be built just for me, right? Massive objects. And then a sledge uses runners instead of wheels. It's like a sleigh without horses, right? So they've got these big hills back there, and get on this big, heavy sled, and down they go, and they're having a good old time. Let's keep rolling. The animation is great, by the way.
it's getting colder by the minute.
So there's a Jack Froster of a day,
Gives way
right?
to hopes for snow.
Froster, I think, in this
So I flew
context, is a noun, not an adjective,
went round to your house. We
describing a type of day.
together for all our lives. Jack Frost has painted the doors and the windows.
Jack Frost has painted the doors and the windows, just like he was talking about.
The dawn. The clouds come rolling in, and the snowfall flies.
I remember days like this as a kid.
On a sledge with rusty rails.
On a sledge with rusty rails.
One more round, then home.
Good memories. One of the things I love about this band, goes into a solo and they choose a trumpet. It's like a 4 to a minor 1.
But home does not feel like a home
home doesn't feel like home anymore. The monsters are waiting outside an open door. From the perspective of his mom, the friends that you ran with have all gone astray. So he has to move away. Sounds like a 1 to me then. That makes that a 4 chord. That makes that a 2 chord. Back to the 1. He's remembering the good old times. His friends are in. Oh, he's growing up. With a wife and kids of his own.
Do you remember when snow fell at Christmas? Do you remember the joy?
I love that they brought in all the voices for that. Do you remember?
That seems a long time ago, and so far from
Seems so long ago. Oh, so far from here. Perhaps it was a dream.
if Jack would call
It's like a 6 chord.
us again, they find us flying down the hills on a sledge with rusty rails. One last run, then
And it resolves to a major key. Suspension. It resolves in, the 4-3 suspension resolves into a major chord. You may find us flying down the hills on a sledge with rusty rails on one last run, and then home. You see what I mean? It's got just loads of the human spirit, and it's optimistic while staying connected to the very real emotions that we have and memories as kids of what it was like when things at home may have not have been the best, but you can escape into a playground that is the world and go out with your friends. I remember, y'all, I grew up, I consider Omaha, Nebraska my hometown. And I spent my middle school and high school and undergraduate years in that part of the country. And in the wintertime, it gets cold and a lot of snow and ice. And we lived on like a T intersection. Our house, like there was one road that would kind of stop right in front of our house, and our house would be like here. And so what I would do, and it was all downhill, like from our house all the way down for like a half mile as this little street meanders through the neighborhood, right? There's one stop sign that you had to get past. So what I would do, what me and my friends would do is we'd go up behind my house where it kind of sloped up, and we'd have a lookout down at the front of the house, making sure there were no cars coming. And then we'd get on the sled or saucer or whatever we had. And it was best when it would snow like 2 or 3 inches, and then it would like freeze, and then everything got a little icy so you could go faster, right? And because too much snow slows you down. and you know, they would be like, okay, coast is clear. And you would go from the back of the house down between the houses and then onto the driveway, and then hope that your friend was a good wingman and no cars were coming, and you just right down, and for like 4 or 5 minutes, just enjoying a leisurely like 10-degree downgrade and just enjoying yourself. Hard part was walking all the way back up. But man, great memories. Luckily, I didn't have a difficult time at home with parents and divorce like Greg went through. But the experiences that we have as kids and as young people inform our actions and our priorities as we go forward in life. And there towards the end, it was showing, now he's married and he has kids of his own, and he's, he wants to have a better experience for his marriage than the marriage that he witnessed as a kid, and for his kids, and we try to better ourselves, and with the understanding and based on the experiences that we have. The song itself, from a harmonic sensibility, is really, really great. We've got guitars and keyboards and the string instrument. There's brass in this. I didn't catch in my read-in who the brass players are or who did the arrangements for the brass. It's a lovely, lovely addition to the sound. They started off in D minor, and they're just going back and forth. They hit, when it went into the chorus, they were doing, the chord that changes to me is a G major chord versus that B flat chord. And when that G major chord changes, it's like they were going from D minor to C major, which those are closely related keys. D minor has one flat and C major doesn't have any sharps or flats. So it's an easy place to move to. You just have to take the B flats away and put the B naturals in, and all the chords just seem to gravitate towards C as that focal point. And I think that's where they ended up. There was another little section where the brass came in where I think they got into a little more flats in that sequence, but I'd have to listen to it again to get everything. But I haven't listened to the entire album yet, y'all. I went to the Big Train community and I asked them their recommendations, and this is the one we came up with, but I can't wait to get to the rest of them. A whole lot of people said that we need to get to the title track, Welcome to the Planet, saying that that's an interesting song for them. So I have a whole lot of love for the band and for the community, and we're all still in mourning for David and his passing, and I think it's going to be a very special album for a long time as his last recording with this band. So it's such a great week to dive into some brand new music. It's fun to know that not only is this music new for me, it's new for y'all as well. And that's what I'm enjoying about this week. And we've got more coming up as we finish out the week on Thursday and Friday. So thanks for hanging out with me today, y'all. And we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.